Man, we just had some super sad news coming out of Los Angeles. It was just reported yesterday that Big U's son, Baby Yui, unfortunately lost his life in the streets of Los Angeles on the night of Halloween. And this is definitely a really tragic piece of news that's coming through for Big U. Obviously, if you followed this channel for a while, you'll know that Big U is currently, facing some serious charges. There's been reports of, embezzlement, corruption, taking money from the city, as well as the fact that, one of his son's friends, Rayshawn Williams, wound up dead in the Las Vegas desert. And, the authorities are pointing the finger at Big U. So he's facing some very serious charges. And no doubt this tragedy is just going to be yet another just heartbreaking setback for him. And I don't envy him. I know that a lot of people have different things to say about Big U, but absolutely no one should have to go through this and lose a son in this way. Now, this was Big U's son, Jabari Henley. He's kind of known on the streets and on the internet as Baby Yui. Now, he's not to be confused with Big U's other son, Diane Henley. He plays for the Los Angeles Chargers, and obviously, Big U's got a few kids. He's also got, he's got daughter as well. And it's just really, really sad to see. And I'm sure that he's really feeling it. Being in the situation that he's in, probably not able to attend the funeral, all that kind of thing. But this is just a little clip of Baby Yui. He's kind of, he was very well known in Los Angeles. He was well known in the kind of street music circuits. And he used to rap under the name Yui Popcorn, but this is just a little clip of him that's been kind of going around since the news hit.
Everybody in the limo. We got my boy Baby Yui right here. Tell him about the limo, Yui.
Oh man, this is the greatest experience, you know what I'm saying? Really help out in the trenches, man. With that big body, all black motherfucker, you know what's going on.
You already know, nigga.
I come on dope, man, cause I run my own show.
You see my nigga Baby Yui, man. Y'all gonna tell him fuck with the limo, Yui.
Y'all gotta fuck with the limo, man. Izzy does it all, man. Izzy does it the best.
Yeah. My motherfucking nigga, Baby Yui. All right, you.
So, look, Baby Yui, he was a charismatic guy. He was beloved in the streets of LA. He was known for popping out on social media, dropping music, being really in the streets and being involved in the scene, really carrying the legacy of his father's name. Obviously, I believe he was listed as signed to his father's label. So Remo posted this on Instagram. He was one of the first people that actually broke the news when this went around, because he keeps a real close eye on everything that's going on in LA kind of street and rap culture. And there was a picture from the scene. Fortunately, this has been edited. They've blurred out, the section of Baby Yui's body on the street. But some people are saying that that might have been his car at the scene, the vehicle that's parked next to the scene. It's a Tesla. Some people believe that's his car. And I think it was reported that he actually was on the street and somebody pulled up in a car and he approached the car and there was a conversation with somebody in the car. Maybe it was someone he knew. Maybe it was someone he was friendly with. Maybe not. But then at that point, shots rang out and he did pass away on the street next to what people believe is a smoke shop. So it's just a really sad situation all around. And just... unfortunately, these are kind of, this is what goes down. Big U was a notorious figure in the streets. He's currently going through a very serious case and a serious situation. It's going to be tough for him to kind of overcome the situation that he's in. And he's really somebody that was kind of known for being really laying down the law in the streets of LA, and it does make you wonder, would this have happened if Big U was kind of outside? Maybe it would have. There's been speculation that, maybe what happened was something to do with issues that Big U might have had, or whether this was beef with another crew. Maybe this was in an area where, Rolling 60s weren't really supposed to be. But it's just a really, really sad situation to see, man. This was another video from the scene that was actually going around on the Cali Banging subreddit, which is obviously the subreddit that's mainly concerned with the California streets and kind of gang folklore and stuff like that. And people were saying from the very get-go when this went down that it was indeed Big U's son.
Very well-known Crip got killed tonight. He has one son that plays for the Chargers and one son that does not. And I don't know which son it was that got killed. I think it's the son who doesn't play for the Chargers.
So it's a sad situation, man. And, big Baby Yui was kind of really making some waves in the music game. He was going by the name Yui Popcorn. And like, this is kind of a long bio of him, but he basically, he was going by the name Yui Popcorn as a rapper, Jabari Dante Henley was born on the 4th of November 1991, so he was just a couple of days off his birthday again, which just makes this even more sad. And he was proudly repping his father's affiliations. He was the second son of legendary LA street figure Eugene Big U Henley. Talking about the highly publicized incarceration of his father that forced him to be raised in a single household from birth until his teenage years. Although his father was incarcerated for the majority of his life, Yui still had the support of his uncles and the advice he gained from his father upon the family visits to him. So when he was growing up, his father, was dealing with incarceration even back then, and he had, spent time on those visits, picked up game, picked up history, and how to move in the streets from his father. Obviously, that was a big role model for him. It says Yui's mother is a strong believer in education and wanted her son to put his main focus on studies, but he struggled in school and worked hard to maintain grades for his mother to keep him active in sports. While his father was incarcerated, Yui's uncle Dwayne had a major influence on his life. Yui enjoyed spending his spare time playing and riding around with his uncle Dwayne. At just the age of 7, Yui's uncle Dwayne was murdered in a drive-by shooting while standing outside of a studio session for West Coast rapper Corrupt. Yui also grew up knowing as his uncle, so he's saying that he was so close with the family and Corrupt that he would look up to Corrupt like his uncle. It says his uncle Dwayne's murder, still unsolved, left a serious impression on Yui and provided him with his first introduction to street violence. The following month of his uncle's murder, his mother and father gave birth to Yui's younger brother, Diane Dwayne Henley, named in honor of his uncle. In 2004, Yui's father, Big U, was released after serving 13 years, and Yui continued to struggle in school to where athletics wasn't enough of a motivation to drive his focus anymore. He enrolled in Crenshaw High School, where he would go on to graduate. But in fear of their son getting into the streets that his father once was involved in, Big U and Stacy became very involved in their son's extracurricular activities of playing football for the school. It's here that Yui made friends with athletes like DeAnthony Thomas, Hayes Pullard, Gregory Ducra, and Marcus Martin, who he considered as his brothers. Yui was frequently involved in criminal activity that caused him to be on the run from law enforcement, which occasionally prompted raids inside of his family's home. DeAnthony Thomas, who he spent most of his senior year at high school living with in the same household, was heading into his freshman year at the University of Oregon, while Yui was on his way to jail. After years of prison visits to his father, Yui found himself on the other side of the wall too. And while he was incarcerated, Yui found himself writing song lyrics as therapy. Upon his release from jail, Yui decided he wanted to turn his life around and go in a more positive direction. Yui found himself dedicating a lot of time doing work for his father's non-profit organization, Developing Options. The back of the office for the organization served as a recording studio for artists like Sam Negus on his father's record label, Unique Music. He then started getting into music under the name J Bars around 14 and 15 while at Crenshaw High School. He wrote several rap songs but never released them, and later he would take on the rap moniker of Yui Popcorn, paying homage to his father and grandfather's nickname Big U. Yui then began to record music more seriously, and Yui's hard work and dedication to his music recently paid off, and he collaborated on songs with artists like Sean Kingston, Michon, and Chris Brown as well. And Yui's stardom continued to rise as he embarked on his first national tour, the Smokers Tub Tour, with fellow MCs Joey Badass and Ab-Soul. Yui's first single, Designer, a song dedicated to his passion for his favorite fashion brands, has been creating buzz amongst social networks and hip-hop sites. 15 years after his uncle Dwayne was killed outside of that recording studio, donning the words Unique Music across his chest and t-shirts, Yui found himself being at the forefront of that same record label. Although his song lyrics state that he has the right to remain silent, Yui reserves that right as he continues to make big noise on the rap scene. So this is just so tragic because it's like, this is a young man who really had the odds stacked against him, and he was really able to kind of start making a name for himself in the music industry and really beginning to get out of the shadow of his father. His father being such a big personality in the music scene and the streets, he was really making moves and kind of rising up, above all of the history and all of the kind of, chatter around his family. And he was really making a name for himself. And he really did link up with some seriously successful artists. So this is a throwback interview with Yui Popcorn. And in this, he explained some of the big artists that he was kind of lining himself up to be working with. And, he was really primed for having some success. I mean, this was 12 years ago, right? So he was tapped in with some of the biggest rappers for a long time.
Yeah, I'm currently working with my boy Wiz Khalifa from Taylor Gang, Big Ups. Ty Dolla $ign, I got some tracks with Ty coming out soon. Corrupt, Ray J, Jazz Laser. I don't know. Oh yeah, Chris, CB, that's my boy. He, CB is a good friend of Pop's, which is a good friend of mine also. That's my boy. He came out to the hood recently, did me a big favor, came down to the hood, shot a little video. Me and Chris real cool. I talked to him, got a good connection.
So he was really tapped in, you know, whether you want to say he was using his father's connections or whether he was just, you know, getting love and respect. He really had Chris Brown out there in the hood, you know, making videos and making moves and putting on. Apparently, Baby Yui was actually living a real crazy lifestyle, okay? People were saying that he was living a real Fresh Prince lifestyle out in these streets, right? And he was living in a mansion. Apparently, he even had a personal chef.
Big motherfucking mud, nigga. You know where we at, man. You know where we at. Let's go to the kitchen. Last night we had a party. We still got the chef up, man. Chef Harden, Coach Boy. Oh, mud shit. Oh, bro. Anything.
So this shows how he was living, man. You know, whether you want to say it, he was living that lifestyle. His father was bringing that lifestyle around, but he really living in the mansion with a private chef and, you know, just living that rapper lifestyle all the way back in 2016.
You can think he can cook, man. That's the greatest chef in the fucking globe. Hey, yo, come beat this shit up. This is what you gotta do when you wake up. Shit you gotta do when you wake up. What's up? Alibaba, you know?
I mean, what the hell? A guy's got his own monkey. Like, he's out here living like Michael Jackson in the mansion. And that mansion was looking beautiful. I'm not going to lie. That foyer was looking absolutely crazy. And not only that, but apparently, you know, he was flexing the nicest cars. Like, this is back in 2016. We're talking Rolls Royces in the garage. Like, all the whips. Just absolutely living the high life, man.
Rafe the Roy. I had to wife the Rafe. You know what I'm saying? I had to Rafe the Roy and wife the Rafe. You know what I'm saying? Came back clean with the double bank back machine. I tell the bitch she can't keep up, she too slow. Word is bond.
So he got Ferrari in there, he got a Maybach there was a Rolls Royce Wraith a minute ago, he got the Wraith on deck. This guy's just living the real lifestyle, okay? And I think this just goes to show, I mean, I don't know if this is going to kind of come back to bite those guys in court. I don't really know. But, you know, he was living that baller lifestyle and you know, it's anyone's best guess as to how this lifestyle was being funded, man. But clearly he was living the lap of luxury. And, you know, he was somebody that was reaping the benefits of everything that was going on, really, you know. And he was trying to make his own way as a rapper. He definitely had the rapper starter kit, got the Maybach, the Rari, the Rolls, like all on deck, you know. So he had all the ingredients he needed to kind of, you know, get some motion and get some clout in this rap game, man.
Psycho dribble. We out here, huh?
They got the old school Maybach, man.
I just got some good, you know what I mean, up in this bitch the other day.
Now, something I want to touch on, okay, that not a lot of people are probably going to touch on this, and it's no disrespect, but obviously, you know, he was living this lavish lifestyle, and he was getting a lot of respect from, you know, from his family connections and the, you know, the people he'd been around. But it seemed like by 2024, you know, I don't think his music career had maybe gone quite as big as he would have hoped. You know, he might have struggled to make a name for himself away from his kind of family connections. And by 2024, you know, a lot of people were saying that, you know, maybe he was struggling mentally. He maybe wasn't getting the outcome that he was hoping for from the music game. Now, unfortunately, it seems like his Twitter has been deleted in the last day or so. So a lot of the things that he posted on Twitter are no longer available. And I've had a few of the links that I've tried to click and they're not working. But we did have a few screenshots of things that were interesting that I put here in a document. You know, there was one post in October 2024. Some people aren't sure whether he was referring to himself or whether he was kind of, you know, talking about somebody else. Some people seem to think he was kind of, you know, referring to himself in a kind of very negative way, saying Section 8 is crazy at 35 years old. Being a deadbeat dad with no custody since the kid was 2 weeks old is crazy. Doesn't take his meds, has episodes. It's crazy work. Domestic violence because you only beat women is crazy work. Get help. Now, some people think that's him. He's referring to himself, but he could be talking about somebody else. But I think this tweet is kind of a little bit dark, and it almost has like a connection to what ended up happening and where it happened. It said, schizo, woman beater, bipolar, needs help, always angry because he's broke, plays victim, blames everyone else for his issues. His own daddy, Big U, don't F with him. He needs to open a GoFundMe, always ruining relationships with everyone from Smoke Shop on 8th Ave to DTLA. So he mentioned a smoke shop there and having bad relationships with people at a smoke shop. And obviously it seemed like he ended up, you know, getting shot and losing his life outside of a smoke shop. You know, I don't know whether that's specifically related or, you know, if that's actually connected, but, you know, he clearly looked like he was going through it when all of this was happening, if I'm honest with you. There's been a lot of responses and reactions to this on Reddit. You know, people basically saying that this is a member of the Rolling 60s who's referring and saying, look, we're going to see who's really gangbanging. We're going to see who's really active in the streets. Now, this happened on Figueroa, and a lot of people are saying that's a pimp zone. You know, certain gangs don't be really active over there, and people from everywhere be over on Fig chilling. They're saying somebody or an op must have saw him and made a decision. People saying hopefully nobody. This thing needs to stop. They're saying, some people are saying he shouldn't have been over there. It's the Hoovers territory, but other people are disputing that and saying that's actually, you know, different gangs. It was in an allied hood. People saying it's false. It's a Hoover hood. So it's a little bit unclear exactly what's going on. People are saying the reference to Snoo in the post is a diss towards the Hoovers, and people are thinking that that's an indication that might have been who was responsible. So look, this is just a really sad situation all around. You know, I can't condone what's going on. I know that there's not anything I'm going to say that's really going to stop the violence in LA, but I just really hope that, you know, people kind of take note and just find other ways of navigating these streets, man, because it's just so sad to see. I don't wish this on anybody, you know, even with all of the allegations against Big U and the bad things that he's allegedly done. No one deserves for their son to go out like this. And it seems like his son was really struggling mentally before he passed away, man. And it's just sad to see. You know, maybe there would have been a better way to get help. Maybe if he was in a better place mentally, he might have moved differently in the streets, but we really don't know at this stage. But if I have any more updates on the Big U situation, I'll keep you guys updated. This was really sad news. I was going to post about this yesterday, but I had a little issue with my channel. I couldn't post anything yesterday. It was looking bad for a minute, but fortunately YouTube have helped me out and they've fixed the problem. But yeah, I couldn't upload for a whole day. It was looking like I might not have been able to upload for a while, but we've fortunately got the situation ironed out now. So that was a super stressful little moment, but we're on top of it now. But yeah, I'll be back with more updates for you guys soon. More 6ix9ine clips, all of that is still coming. Got a lot more to show you. And yeah, rest in peace to Baby Yui, man. Really sad situation.